I want to bring someone in from the streets one day.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Just not even
hold on 1 second. I don't have your mic on.
I want to bring someone in from the streets.
Welcome into the Bogey Row Banter, the show where we banter as Bogey Bros, even though we're down one. Trevor's not here this week. He's out sick. He'll be back. Actually, he'll probably be back Friday or Monday.
Your hat looks dynamite right now.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Does it not? What's going on with it?
You got like squished up with your headphones. I liked it though. It was kind of like
Oh, they're talking about my hat.
Your hat
Their
also
hat is
looks
pretty
dynamite.
Cool.
What
It's
is
hat?
it?
Mickey
Did you
Mouse.
say Mickey Mouse? I like how simple it is.
The OG, man.
The mouse.
I think there was...
The Mouseketeer.
There's some people that are still kind of confused about what the show is.
We're confused with the show is. The fact that you don't know what the show is means you know what the show is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like...
If you don't get it, you get it.
Exactly.
So this is what
Exactly.
This is what I think.
That should be our merch.
I think grip locked is like 100% disc golf.
Yes.
You're maybe a fraction of a second is talked outside of disc golf, but it's 100% disc golf. Debate night is like 75% disc golf. So like majority of the time we're going to be talking disc golf. We'll sprinkle in a couple topics here and there.
We might just go on for 2 hours about F1.
Bogey Row Banter is like 10% disc golf, if that.
Most of the time, we tried it to make it not disc golf at all. It's just that we're disc golfers, so sometimes it sneaks in.
Then the Heiser Club Mailbag, which is the Patreon podcast, that has a lot of disc golf because that's just basically based off of what people want us to talk about. And then the Breakfast Nook, that's something that's...
Can we even talk about what...
We can't really talk about.
That's 0%.
The only word I can think of is indescribable.
It's a delicacy.
And then
it's our delicacy of our podcast.
That's a good way to
Plastic Addicts is 100%.
100% disc
Maybe
golf.
105%.
Yeah.
Well, it's like 50% disc golf, 50% Silas.
That's true.
Which Silas is 100% disc golf. So
that's,
we put it all
Silas
together.
that's all his personality is.
Yeah, he just is disc golf. I actually brought a topic. I came prepared.
That's exciting.
It was
That's
a question.
very
It was a
exciting.
question that I asked my wife the other night, and we were fascinated by this.
Is this one of those like, how to get deeper in your relationships? Ask these questions.
No. So we went to Sam's.
Which
Club.
Disney princess are you?
Yeah.
You see my? I'm just kidding. We went to Sam's Club, and she had never had
In the club?
Yeah, she had never had Dunkaroos.
I don't know what that is.
Overrated.
Okay.
It's basically like
They're like the
little
the
crackers
sticks that you dip in cheese, but instead of cheese, it's icing.
yeah, essentially.
Connor, can I turn your volume down on my headphones?
Yeah, sure.
I don't think I've ever
It'll
think I
only
would
hurt my feelings a little.
I don't think I ever would have said that, but I'm saying that.
How
Is he
that?
loud in yours?
Yeah, but I kind of like it.
How is that?
I think it's better. In
Is
mine.
he louder in yours than me? Is he louder than me in yours?
Y'all are about the same, but I think it's just because you talk.
Is
a
that
lot
better?
louder.
Is that better, Brodie?
Yeah.
Do you want me to turn it down more?
No, that's fine. He was like 4 times louder than you.
No, that was true. Yeah, but it's because I hear myself talking too, so I don't know what my volume is. Because like when you talk, you're the loudest to yourself.
No.
I wish I could put
Because you hear
compression.
He was
yourself.
way louder
Well,
than me.
no, yeah.
He was the loudest of all 3.
Well, yeah, he was a little louder than me. Anyway,
I was just getting a little excited.
that's fine. So
No, you were fine.
She had never had Dunkaroos, so we bought
Okay.
this bulk Dunkaroo box. Clearly.
That's awesome.
And then we got to the car, and I opened them, and we ate Dunkaroos together in the car. And we were eating them, and we were talking about, like, forget how we got
Is
on
it
top.
vanilla icing? Is that
It
what
is vanilla icing.
Okay.
Yeah. I forget how we were talking about it, but essentially I was like, when we raise our kid, do you think that we could make them think that dessert is healthy food and make them think like the carrots are their dessert? Mm-hmm. Because like, so I had to write it down so I get the wording right. Do we like sweets because they taste good, or do they taste good because we're told we're not supposed to eat them a lot? Like in theory, could I train my kid to think vegetables are dessert and be like, you got to finish that piece of cake before you can have your carrots?
That is, can I say something about this really quick? That is actually a parenting tactic, not to quite go reverse psychology like what you're saying, but something that I think is really interesting that I think Gabby and I are going to try with our kids is something that she got from a like mom influencer. Her name is Milena Cincinnati or something like that.
Sure.
I'm sure that your wife knows her, knows of her. I mean, and she doesn't treat sweets as a reward. So like if her daughter wants to have a cookie, before dinner, she won't make a big deal about like no cookies before dinner, or like you can have it if you do this, or like she doesn't use it as a reward. She just lets her have it, because then it takes the power away for whenever you're an adult that sweets are like, I've got to get some chocolate or some cookies or something like that, because
It's kinda like
just a normal food. So it's very similar to what you're saying.
It's like my dog. Stick with me. My dog, if I need my dog to come inside, right? But we're out of cookies. We don't have any treats. I'll grab a handful of their food, put it in a bag, shake it. They come sprinting to me. Then I throw them it, and they'll sit, they'll whatever. I can get them one after another, and they think that they're getting something that's like a treat when it's just their food.
Like the context is what gives it power.
Exactly. So that's what I was saying, is like if I put carrots in that context.
Okay,
I'm gonna disagree.
Well, okay, obviously,
I'm gonna disagree with
chocolate
both of you.
is going to be a little bit different than carrots.
Well,
Okay,
I'm
but-
going to disagree
but-
with both of you. Sugar's a drug. So
is also true.
The notion that you're saying like
But natural
Someone-
sugars
hold on.
of like apples, could you get addicted to that?
no,
How? Still
because
like
it's
sugar.
no, it's not that. No, natural sugar is very very different than the actual drug sugar.
Okay. I mean, to me, sugar is sugar.
No.
Well, yeah, I mean, clearly not. I'm just saying, like, okay, keep going.
Yeah.
What is booger sugar?
Booger sugar. I think what you guys are saying, I think at some point, like, I think you can get rid of the notion of like the desire for sweets, in the sense of where like I need to do something to get a sweet. I think I'm with you on that, of where, if, don't use it as a way of like, we'll get ice cream tonight if you do your homework. Like, don't do that. That will probably help curb the desire for it.
Yeah.
But there's no way you're getting a kid to think like spinach is going to be just as tasty as an apple pie.
Okay,
I think
And it's the same. It's a notion of like, there's no way you can convince your kid that like, hey, if you get straight A's, I'll let you run a mile. Like, no kid is thinking like doing something that is going to exert a lot of exhaustion and make them feel bad.
but that makes them feel bad.
Well,
A
that's
carrot
not
makes
true,
them
That's
though,
the exact
because-
opposite of sugar. Sugar like gives you a sugar high. There's a reason why when people
But I'm
there's a reason
saying-
why people do drugs. They feel bad. They do drugs. They feel good.
But you don't
Like,
think
that's
that I
literally what-
could like, if the entire time, like my kid, the only time they have a carrot, I don't know why I keep going to a carrot. I love carrots. Cooked carrots. Got to be cooked in butter and salt.
We're not dumb,
I am
though.
the pinnacle of health. No, but
What
like, do
you're
you
doing
think
is-
that my like, but if you,
Humans
we're not
aren't dumb, though.
because we've been raised this way to like, you've been taught you want carrots. Like you need carrots. They're good for you. But what if I taught my kid like, hey, you better not let those carrots spoil your dinner. And like the only time they got a carrot was like if they finished it, whatever. And then they get to be an adult and all they want, they're like, oh, finally, like I can just eat carrots for dinner.
No, because
Like-
I think we still have taste buds, and so when
But
they
that's what I'm saying.
taste-
Something like a
when they
carrot that's
taste
not
this-
bad tasting.
Yeah,
I
but
think the
a
main
carrot
thing-
versus Cinnabon, you're not.
I'm
eating
not
a-
going
Hunter,
one.
I think that what you're saying is like borderline misleading.
But you can kind of see what I'm saying.
I see what you're saying. I think
I think it'd be an interesting test.
One of the ways to deal with it that I see parents of kids that
You can't
like,
compare it to a dog either. A dog will eat anything.
that is true. But
No,
I,
but humans can be trained.
I think the way to go, and I've
So you're
seen this in
brainwashing.
my nephew Lewis is like an incredible kid. And I know a bunch of kids that are really good kids. I know a lot of kids that are really bad kids. And I think what it is that parents, one, let them feed themselves. It's very good for the kid. And then also they give them real food instead of all these like
Yes.
sugary puff children foods. Like they actually like give them real food, real rice, real vegetables, and they let them eat it themselves because it's their only option. Like
Kelsey-
my nephew my sister won't let him eat sugar until he's a certain age. He's over 1 now, and so he just eats all these vegetables and stuff with no problem. He eats them all. He loves avocados, stuff like that. And so I think just feeding them real food at a young age is like the way that you train
Yeah.
your kid into liking
Kelsey followed this one girl that basically just moved from the United States to, I believe, somewhere in Europe. I don't know exactly. And she didn't change her lifestyle at all. She didn't change like what she was eating. She was eating the same types of food, except she was buying the food in the grocery stores over there and not in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And she like lost 15 pounds over a course
Wow.
of several months.
That's crazy.
And she was literally like, and it's true though, if you go and have, for example, like a Gatorade, if you have a Gatorade, not Gatorade Zero, but like a normal Gatorade here, and then you go over there and have a Gatorade, or like Asia, or it's gonna taste different. Same thing with like Oreos. Oreos taste different in the United States than they do in other countries, and I'm sure it's probably like that with a lot of different food. Not just even the prepackaged stuff. I'm sure even like some of the meats and not veggies, obviously, but some of the meats and other stuff that you can add preservatives, you can add all this other stuff to it. So that's where I think like what you're saying is if you can get kids, same thing with like baby food. If you're giving baby food from like, if you're not particular with what you're doing with your baby food, you might be already at a very young age training your kid to eat, to want sugar basically, versus making your, getting plums and crushing the plums up yourself and giving them fresh plums. Or I don't know why I picked plums. I feel like plum is a good baby food flavor.
It's sweet.
But I think that's, it's the same thing as like if me and you were trying to go on a diet where we're trying to eliminate sugar from our diet, it's not impossible, but it's extremely difficult because we're so used to eating it in almost everything. I mean, heck, you eat a sandwich, there's sugar in the bread. So, so when we have to eliminate it ourselves, it's a lot more difficult because we're used to it and everything. And so, but that's what also people say is like, you get, my desire for sugar right now is so much lower than it was 4 weeks ago because I've been without it for a long, long time. Versus 4 weeks ago, it's like I couldn't go into a gas station without buying a Snickers or a pack of Skittles or whatever. So it's again one of those things where you can basically like you can still change it. It's not like just because you're addicted to sugar you can't get off of it, obviously. But I think if you, like you're saying, if you're can give fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, especially at a young age, then you can almost train them to like not want to go out and have to eat all that stuff. But that being said, I've heard a lot of people that don't have Cinnabon in their countries come over to the United States and have Cinnabon for the first time and go, this is the best thing I've ever had in my entire life.
So back to humans being trained like dogs, because it is possible. I'm surprised y'all didn't realize it because
you can brainwash people. Yes, I agree. You can brainwash people.
That's what I'm saying, the whole thing. You could train your kid.
I don't really want to brainwash my kid.
I'm not saying it wouldn't work. I'm just saying it's misleading.
I never said that I'm going to do this. I'm just saying, like, is it possible? That was my whole point.
The way you were talking was very much like you had decided this is your way.
No, I would never do that. I would never take chocolate away from my kid.
Okay, that was the way that you were saying it.
I'm just saying, like, would it be possible to raise a kid in their entire life?
There's people that are brainwashed all over the United States.
But that's what I'm saying. Is there so there would be a way to raise your kid?
Yes.
Definitely.
There's kids that are terrified.
How do we get so far off
How do you think there's still KKK members out in the U.S.?
True.
It's because they're brainwashed.
Well, okay.
Also,
that's a lot different than eating a carrot as dessert.
It's not.
But it's
not.
Well, no, I get that that's brainwashing, but I'm just saying, so you're saying it is possible if you raise your kid.
There's two kids.
You hold so much responsibility and power as a parent.
There was two kids
Then why did y'all ever say it wasn't possible?
We didn't say it wasn't possible. We were just saying you're
it's-
kind of a weird guy.
Y'all literally said no. You said no. I was like, so if I train my kid of like, if you finish it up, you can have a carrot, they would desire a carrot. Y'all were like, no, and here's why. And then
if you did what you just said right there, that would not work. But if you brainwashed your kid, I knew two kids in my
What's the difference?
No, hear me out. I brainwashed, I didn't brainwash, sorry. I had two kids in my camp one year that were terrified of the water because their parents, their mom, told them that if they touch water in the pool, that it would burn their skin. So whenever we
That's kind of messed up.
Whenever we went out swimming as a group, they didn't change into their bathing suits and they sat on the chairs. And so the notion of like, can you brainwash your kid in thinking that a cookie is bad? Yeah, you could easily say if you eat this. I mean, heck, did you watch the?
Well, I'm not saying if you eat this, you're gonna die.
No,
I'm saying like
that's what you would have to do though.
No, I don't
yes,
think you would.
You would have to because as soon as
what I'm saying is you don't think it would work. Of like from the very get go, you trained your kid.
No, because as soon as they ate something else,
they're eating desserts the entire time. The whole time they're eating desserts all they want. But the carrot is a reward.
No,
the carrot.
No.
Well, because they would still be, unless you controlled them, you keep them from watching TV, you would keep them from talking to any other human in the world. Like they would have to be.
They would realize that carrots.
They're so young, they're just watching Cocomelon.
No, but they would realize
what
that
is Cocomelon?
They would realize really quick, like. if you came to school and like
How did those kids not watch Michael Phelps swim?
Because they were poor and they didn't probably have a TV.
So they didn't. No one at school talked about someone swimming and not getting burned. They didn't see other kids swim.
They were sitting there watching all their friends
But that's
swimming.
what I'm saying. So they watched it happen to
But-
other people to know it's not
hey,
true.
but
and
a
they
doctor-
still
but
believe
again,
it.
it's
But
the
Hunter,
fear.
a
It's the
doctor
fear
convinced you
of-
that you're allergic to
That is
red
true.
meat.
No, my
So-
body convinced me when I almost died.
Well, you're saying fear is a real thing. Like you can terrify kids at a young age to fear something. What you're saying is you're trying to make them think that a carrot is a reward.
Yes.
And it's gonna be real quick when when they show up to school and other kids have bags and bags of carrots and they're eating them. They're gonna be like,
They'd be like, dude, you have such sick parents that you eat that many carrots?
They'd be like, wow, you must have been so well behaved. That's crazy that you're saying all these bad words and smoking
Yeah.
weed, but you can still eat your carrots.
I just don't think the way. Like,
But you got to admit that it would work
what
when they're young.
what dictator
How
in
wouldn't
history?
it?
Hold on,
How wouldn't it?
I mean,
I
what
think it'd work to an extent.
What,
Thank you.
What
Thank you.
dictator in history has ruled off of giving fake rewards versus fear?
A lot.
Tell me one.
That
please.
is
United
true,
States of America.
No, but that's still fear-based.
No, it's
No, it is
fear.
fear-based.
It's all fear
But
based.
there's a lot of ones that use
No.
rewards
The
to
reward,
keep you.
the reward is
socialism.
Safety. The reward is safety from fear. Yeah,
That's all fear. If you do anything against them, you will be killed.
Well, no.
No.
It's still fear, but they reward you with saying that they're going to provide you safety from the thing that they're trying.
Yeah,
to
but they're
scare you of.
rewarding you. The people who
Yeah.
live in socialism, until
Well,
it
the
gets to the
reward is-
very drastic socialism, like normal socialism, people don't feel afraid in it.
Those aren't dictators. Who's a dictator?
Well, okay, but
Tell
dictator,
give me a dictator right now that hasn't ruled with fear.
a dictator is different than someone who's in control. Right?
This is the most intense Bogey Bro answer we've ever
know.
had.
All
It's
because
so
Brodie
ins-
won't admit that you could train your kid to want a carrot as a reward. That's all I'm
At
saying.
a certain
you
point,
definitely can.
At a certain point, until they realize because they're smart enough and they have people around them
I mean,
to be
yes,
like, that's
eventually,
ridiculous.
whenever
I don't
they
think
are.
so.
Fear is
okay.
way more.
You could curve someone that you could make your kid for their life desire carrots by at a young age teaching them to desire carrots.
I mean, my family told me all growing up that if I ate Taco Bell, I was gonna puke and crap my pants. And guess what I did whenever I got to college? I ate a ton of Taco Bell.
But
anyway.
they like actually tell you that? Like they were like, "Hey Connor, you better not eat, you better not touch Taco Bell. You're gonna poop and crack your pants." Or they were like, "Hey man,
Has
you better
anyone-
not eat too much Taco Bell."
Has anyone watched the show with the girl that's like, my name is
Yeah,
the heck is that?
The acapella thing.
acapella? No.
Yes, with Anna Kendrick.
Oh, you're talking about that. You're talking about that.
No, I'm talking about the
I know
mom.
what you're talking about, Hunter.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
what you're
the
talking
girl who,
about.
like,
the
never
beatboxer.
talked.
No,
Yes.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the. Hi, my name is Misty. Oh gosh, what's her name? Her mom basically her mom is a psychopath. And basically, and there are parents like that are like this. This is like a real condition. And this is based off a real story of where her mom basically told her all these things of you can't walk, you're diabetic.
I know
you're
what show
all
you're
this.
talking about.
And she went and like got doctors. Like she just kept going to doctors until the doctor gave her the information. What is that show called? Can you look that up real quick?
Yeah,
That's
I can
gonna
look it
drive
up.
me nuts. It was a big series that came out, and essentially, this girl thought that was her entire life for years and years and years. And what the mom too was kind of doing is she was able to get all these kind of like being able to meet celebrities, get money from the government, all this stuff to kind of
The act.
the act. You never saw the act?
Never even heard of it.
This would be right up your alley. This is what you're talking about.
It's not what I'm talking about because this is a
is.
whole lifestyle that's going to be quickly, you'd be like, oh, I got tested. I'm not diabetic. Versus, oh, carrots are good for you.
I think-
like this is just a desire for a
thinking-
carrot.
No, I
where you're
think-
going way beyond it.
No, but I'm saying being able to convince your kid that they're like terminally ill and they can't do all this stuff, I think
Right.
is
It
way
is based
more.
off of a true story.
Yeah, I mean, there's parents like that. What's the disease? There's a disease where your parent is basically telling you're sick and stuff so they can take care of you. That's what the disease is the parent wants to be able to take care of you for like your entire life. So they make you sick. They basically put stuff in your food and stuff to make you sick, make you weak, make you all this stuff so they have to take care of you. There's a name for it. I'm saying
I can't find the name for it.
if you can do that to a point and get a kid to believe that and then eventually break out of it, there's no way that you're not going to break out of somehow teaching your kid that a carrot is a reward.
Yeah, because there's not a test. This is a like.
No, it's just taste buds.
Okay, then why do you, when you
It's
train your
taste
dog,
buds.
a very easy way to train your dog is with positive reinforcement and positive rewards.
But
That's
dogs,
like the best way to
but
retrain a dog.
But you can't say dogs. The way a dog's brain works is not the same.
It's not the same, but both can be trained.
But a lot of dogs are.
I just know that I know that if you were like stuck with it, and from your kid from the time
also
they were
don't think you
2 through, like you treated carrots or whatever as a reward, when they got older, you would still have a desire for carrots. Like a carrot probably be your favorite snack of all time. You wouldn't look at it and be like,
Healthy
I
snack.
can't have.
Could be a favorite healthy snack.
No, like you.
I
Ridiculous.
think the
You
like
found the
disease
disease?
or whatever is called Munchausen syndrome by proxy.
That might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Munchausen.
Munchausen.
Yeah.
That's
Wait.
it. Munchausen.
How do you say it?
Munchausen by proxy.
Munchausen. Yeah.
Of where it's basically you're trying to get someone to be dependent on you their entire life.
Yeah.
It's wild.
That is
If you
crazy.
haven't seen the act, watch it.
I think that
did you
every-
get her name? Did you figure out what her name was?
Yeah. It was
Missy B.
the girl's name. The like daughter's name was Gypsy Rose.
Hi, my name is Gypsy
Blanchard.
Rose. Yeah,
And the
that's
mom's name was Dee Dee Blanchard.
it. Yeah, that's how she talks. She's like, "Hi, my name is Gypsy Rose."
Okay. What does that have to do with anything?
I don't want to watch the show just because you
It's-
doing that over and over again is making me so upset.
That was one of me and Kelsey's least favorite things of like how she said that. She's like, "Hi, my name is Gypsy Rose."
I really
Like-
want to watch that show just out of curiosity, but I think that
It's a crazy show.
I think it would ruin me.
You need to watch it like when you're just like, I don't know when you should watch it. It's very highly stressful. Just
Still
to
don't
think
get-
that actually
I
happens.
feel like I can't wrap my mind around how you don't think that if your parents had treated a carrot as a reward, that like right now you
It
wouldn't
works on horses.
you wouldn't want a carrot.
Perfect
Like
ex-
not that you
perfect-
think a carrot's dessert. That's not what I'm saying. That you wouldn't desire a carrot.
Perfect example is look at like Christian homes.
What
Is
does that
that
do
a
with
good?
carrots?
Is that
Continue.
is that a good example of where you're raised that going to church is like an important thing to do? Is that different than a reward of a carrot?
Yes,
Yeah.
very.
Because a reward is
A reward. That's what I'm saying. Is everything you keep bringing up is completely different than what I'm
So
saying.
okay, so how about
Give me
okay?
an
So how about
analogy
why don't you
that
train your
works.
train your kids that going to church is a reward? Why don't you do that?
That would probably work the same way as a carrot.
So they'll always go to church then because it's a reward.
No, I never said always. They're not always going to eat carrots, but
Why
they're going to
wouldn't-
look at carrots as a
Why wouldn't
positive
they?
thing because they would probably be their favorite snack would be a carrot.
So when they go to the grocery store and they can buy whatever they want, why wouldn't they just buy a bunch of carrots?
Because they won't eat only carrots. You're not
I mean,
training
there's
to eat only
definitely
carrots.
there's
Do you not
definitely a
see-
psychological part of it where you can convince somebody
sure, a little
Thank
bit.
you.
to have a habit. Their
I'm
whole
not
life
saying that
because
they're gonna only eat carrots the rest of their life.
The whole thing is you can brainwash someone because the whole
But this
thing
isn't
is
like
some of
brainwashing.
it-
no one out there is saying that a carrot is gonna taste better than a bunch of other stuff.
And you wouldn't be saying that either.
I mean,
So
it's
you
kinda
have
like,
to have to
okay.
brainwash them. Why would
No, you don't have to brainwash them. You
Yes.
just have to give them a carrot as a reward
Back
to
in
make them
many-
desire
many,
the carrot.
Many centuries ago.
you can't like? Okay, sorry, go.
Many
I
centuries
feel like
ago.
we need to go to a different topic because we're not going to agree. On
many
this one.
I
centuries
just don't.
ago.
It's like I don't think there's much to agree on.
Many
Go for it.
centuries ago, the pineapple was not widely available to the rest of the world. It was only available in a specific tropical region where it grew. And so people would literally have, like people in Europe would have, like really rich people would have a pineapple shipped in and they would invite all of their really, really rich friends.
Swag.
And they would literally have like a tease party where they would like expose the pineapple.
Swag.
And everybody would watch and it was this crazy tropical thing. And so it's kind of like the same thing where if you make a big deal out of something, like everybody's convinced that, like you can convince somebody that it's like a huge thing. But to us, pineapple is just pineapple.
But again, what you're saying is a supply situation.
yeah. So,
it'd
so
be the
if
same
you-
thing
if you
as-
provide-
creating it.
Caviar is a good example, right? Like
True.
I think caviar is absolutely disgusting.
That's the biggest
And it's-
difference, though, is
and
that's
it's
gross. A carrot's not gross.
I would disagree with you. I would say a lot of people watching this were going to tell you that they do not like carrots.
Okay, then pick an apple. It doesn't matter what it is. It's something
It
that's
does
healthy
though
for you.
because people have different taste buds.
What's something
that's
that's
the
healthy?
whole
What's
thing.
something that's healthy that you enjoy?
But what I enjoy,
No,
like
what's something that's
a
healthy
banana.
that you a banana? Okay, so your whole life, your mom trained you that a banana was a reward.
But what if some people don't like bananas? Because
Then
there
to
are
them,
people
it's a
out
carrot. To them, it's a broccoli. I'm just saying something healthy. You're missing the whole point of what I'm saying. You could rewire a kid's brain. Like part of why we desire sweets, I think. Yes.
Because it tastes good.
Yes, but also
And
because
sugar's a drug.
Okay, screw it all. I hate this shit.
That's what. That's why
You're
you
right,
just.
Hunter. It's because it was like made a big deal.
Thank you.
I completely.
You see
agree
what I'm
with
saying?
you. Yes, I agree with
And
you.
it makes sense.
It makes sense.
I know it does.
You guys are both making sense. Brodie just really doesn't want you to think that it makes sense.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm making sense. Brodie just keeps throwing analogies that are coming out of left field that make no sense to the analogy.
No. What?
All right, so you're basically saying if I tied you down and beat you and told you it was a reward, you would like it like a carrot. Like, of course that doesn't make any sense because that's a negative.
No, I'm saying
That's the type of analogy you throw at me right there. That if you would have used that as an analogy, I'd have been like, what is
those
Brodie
are not
talking
the
about?
analogies I use.
I said that's the type. Like you pull them out of nowhere and they make no correlation to the carrot at all.
My
and then
whole
you expect
thing,
me to think that it
my
makes
thing
sense.
is like you can scare someone, you can fear someone and brainwashing them. When you brainwash,
You're already on a different page than me.
When
I'm
you-
never making my kid afraid of food.
but when you brainwash someone,
Unless
or at
it's
least
poisonous.
from all the shows and movies I've watched, when people brainwash someone, most of the time it's out of like fear, not out of like.
But I'm not
reward.
trying to brainwash. That's the whole difference.
You are though. You're trying to tell someone that a carrot tastes better to
when-
someone.
No,
See,
that-
when
that
did I
is-
ever
that's
say
not the
taste
point of
better?
it.
When did I ever say taste better?
All right, let's move on.
That's the only topic I had.
I
don't
can't
wanna-
wait
I'm not
until
talking
I
about it.
can't wait. Let's talk about that in 10 years and see how it's going with your kid.
I'm not going
'Cause
to actually do it to my
curious.
kid.
So aggressive.
No, I'm saying I'm curious. I just don't.
I would never try to teach. How the conversation started was I was joking with my wife, like, could you make someone think a carrot tasted better? And then we quickly got off of it because I was like, obviously you couldn't. And then it got to like, but what if you treated a carrot like dessert to where they only got it at certain times? Like, is that part of why, like, that's part of why I desire ice cream still to this day is because my parents treated it like a reward. Mm-hmm. I got ice cream when I finished my dinner. So now I'm like, sometimes I'll eat ice cream before dinner and literally text my mom, be like, haha, I'm eating ice cream before dinner. Like, because it was a reward to me. So that's part of the reason I desire it, because my whole life I couldn't have it whenever I wanted. So now that I can, it's why I desire it. It doesn't matter
But
what it tastes like.
let's think of like other thing. Can we just think of other things real quick, and we'll go to a different topic. What are some other things outside of food that you were given as a reward as a kid? Going to the movie theater,
No. I got an allowance sometimes
skipping school.
to watch Duke basketball. Sure.
What are other
There was
things?
never like, you do this, you don't have to go to school tomorrow. Like the only thing was food. Realistically.
Really.
Like what other reward was there?
I would like go to the movies, go to the amusement park. Like you did really good in school. We'll go to the amusement park.
My report card got hung up on the fridge. When I was in elementary school, I think I got $5 if I got an A.
Or
on the
like
report card.
maybe I get like a new if I got all straight A's, something like we'll buy you this pair of basketball shoes, or like stuff outside of just food.
Food's the easiest because it's the most like you do it every day. So you're training a kid day
But
after day
my
after
thing
day.
is like if you were for example, movies, that was something that like we got to go see a movie if we did good in school or something. Why does if that's the case, why don't I have this allure of like, oh, I get, like you're saying with the ice
you
cream.
like movies way more than I like movies.
Like when
it was
you're
used as a reward for you, it wasn't used as a reward for me.
But there's also
I mean, that's deep.
But no,
That's
but
deep right there. Point proven.
no, I'm saying I don't have that with movies. That's what I'm
but
saying.
you have a natural desire to watch movies.
not going to the movie theater.
But you have a natural desire to watch them.
So does everyone else.
No, I have no desire to watch movies. I don't enjoy watching movies. I enjoy watching a comedy here and there. That's why I don't watch any movies.
I think your
But growing
point,
up, I got to watch movies
the
whenever I
thing,
wanted.
the thing with food though is like the last thing with food is it's like something that you have to survive. Everyone knows that you cannot survive on just eating ice cream. If you just ate ice cream,
Yeah.
you will eventually die.
Sure. What does that have to do with my point?
So like there is like a nutrition thing of like these are desserts.
Yeah.
You can eat them,
Yeah.
but they're not giving you enough nutrition for you to like be able to live.
Okay.
So like there is already this thing of like, oh, when you're like, oh, I'm eating ice cream before dinner,
Yeah.
the whole notion of that like being like ha 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 is because you actually have to eat food of substance
Okay.
to actually like fulfill yourself.
Okay. Where does that have to do with my point?
No, I'm just saying you can't. It's a scientific thing that you can't
What
you have
I've
to
learned is that
brainwash
Brodie
someone.
has no idea what my point is what I've learned by every analogy.
You're gonna have to brainwash someone into thinking that a carrot is not a nutritional thing that actually is going to be good for you to eat.
Do they have to believe that a carrot's not good for them in order for this to work?
Not at all. Do you have to believe that going to the movies is bad for you for it to work? No, it worked. You like movies.
Not in the.
You desire to watch movies.
You're not.
It worked.
It's very hard.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, let's go to a different topic. I'm interested in seeing what the comments are going to say about the brainwashing thing.
I feel like
the
by
dictator,
you saying brainwashing, you're already on a different page than the point I'm trying to make. That's what I'm saying. Is you're overtaking my point and trying to make it sound like I'm saying something I'm not saying.
All right.
That's the whole point I'm trying to make.
Okay.
You don't understand what I'm saying. And so therefore, if the comments agree with you, it just means they didn't hear what I said.
But sugar is a drug. I think that's my biggest.
The sugar is a drug.
I think
is a good
that
point.
is my best
It's not
point.
just what is it that nature versus nurture? It's not just nature versus nurture.
Both
it's
exist.
They both exist because sugar does
It's addictive.
Like caffeine.
force you to have a dependency on sugar. But there's also a huge part of nurture in it, meaning that sometimes I think we make too big of a deal out of sugar.
Yeah. Because it's such a like coveted reward.
Because it was like
That was my whole point. If you replace
Yes.
that coveted reward with something healthy for the kid,
Smoking a blunt.
sure, you can do it with that. You can do it with anything you want. If you train your kid as like this is a reward, it's gonna make them want it in the future. That was my whole point.
Cigarettes.
Sure.
Reward.
Sure, you can do it with
See
whatever
how
you
that
want.
works.
You can do it with whatever you want. It doesn't matter.
well, that'll work really well because they'll get addicted.
I like this show because basically me and Hunter go for like 2.5 hours the night before of not really debating at all, and then we come here.
Well, it's because we agree on everything
and we
disc golf
debate
wise.
against everything.
We agree on everything disc golf wise.
And then Connor's just the voice of reason. All right, Connor, what do you have something else you want to talk about?
I have no idea.
I just don't get how you don't understand what I was saying.
No, I get what you're saying.
You
I
clearly
just don't think it will work at like the longevity of it.
I need to text Trevor. His audio isn't processing from this.
That's not good. Grip lock's dead.
Well, if anything, I've got him recorded right here.
You'll just do it again.
I'm gonna send him to this link.
Just run it back. Yeah, so Bogey Bro Banter, we basically talk about whatever we want.
Usually it's a lot more comedic than this.
Well, I think
I thought this was gonna be a fun, lighthearted topic when I brought it up.
it was.
Because it wasn't. Because I was like, oh, everyone will understand that if you train a child that wants something as a reward, then like could you do it with a carrot? That was it. But then you just missed the whole first part.
I think it wasn't fun, and I think it was heavy-hearted.
I had no fun. I am not having fun right now. I'm mad at the world for no reason.
I just don't think people want desserts because they were trained as a kid that desserts are like that's what the reward was.
See,
I just
but
don't think
that's-
that's why
that's
people,
the whole thing.
People want desserts because it tastes
You
good.
think that I disagree with that point. I don't. And that's why I'm sitting here like trying to understand what you're saying. Because I agree with you. You just
that
have no
people
idea what I'm
don't-
saying.
That people don't want desserts because it was a reward as a kid.
No, that's a part of it. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think it's a part of it at all.
You think it's no part of it at all.
No, I think it's the
That's
fact
where you're
that
wrong.
I think it's the fact that there's sugar in the desserts, which because
So then what about Connor's point where he was saying that since was it your sister-in-law or sister?
My sister.
Since his sister basically doesn't put the benefit, like it's a reward thing, then like that's a tried and true. When I Googled looking for can humans be trained like dogs, that was something that came up. That's a tried and true parenting
her
method.
point-
so
Her
wait,
point
her
are not
kids,
giving-
her
her
kids
point-
are eating cookies though. They're
No,
still
My kids
no. You guys are confusing what I was talking about. The influencer does. The influencer doesn't use the sugar and the cookies as like a reward. She just makes it to where it's on the same level playing field as regular food.
Yes.
So that the kids don't grow up saying this was a reward, like trying to make a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My sister does not feed my nephew, who is about
He doesn't feed her sugar at all.
year
I got him
few-
flipped.
Yeah, she doesn't feed him sugar at all because sugar has a negative effect on brain.
Correct.
On
Yeah.
I got the influencing the person flipped. But I'm not saying my
But
kid's never eating sugar.
The influencer person, like there's a good chance that influencer person, even though they allowed the kid to do whatever they want, that kid, when they grow up and they realize they can buy their own groceries, they're going to have to make the decision of what food that they want to eat. If they want to buy all the stuff that tastes really good to them and get fat and unhealthy, they're going to do that.
But I do believe you can train your kid to like healthy food.
Of course you
like
can.
to taste, because if you train their taste buds from the moment that they're a child to like avocados,
Now
they're going to love avocados.
Well,
you know what I mean?
that's a very interesting question. Let's go that. Let's go away from the carrot and go, can you train someone to like spicy food? So for example,
Yes, that's why there are cultures in the world that prefer spicy food. It's because their kids are raised eating spicy food.
question though, for example,
I can tell this isn't going to go well
I can't,
based on how the carrot conversation
I don't
went.
like anything carbonated because it actually burns my throat.
Okay.
Spicy food, very similar. And when I eat spicy food, it like actually hurts to eat.
Okay.
'Cause you don't have a tolerance for it.
Is that something that as a kid, when I went to birthday parties and stuff, there were sodas and all that stuff at a very young age? I mean, because you're not giving your 2-year-old, 3-year-old soda.
Some people are.
Some, sure, but most people aren't giving their kid at that young age. You're probably having your first soda around 5, 6, 7. And that was probably the same time that I was introduced to soda. But for whatever reason, it burned. And so I didn't like it. So like when I went to a party and I was like, I took a drink and I was like, oh, this is Sprite. I spit it out because it actually hurt. I thought it was water. So like something like that.
There's probably something
Well,
like that where
that's what
you
I'm
thought
saying.
it was
There's
water. It happened to be Sprite. It burned you once, and the rest of your life, you're like, I don't like that. Burns my throat. I don't want it.
There's a huge part of it that's preference, and I think that it's hard to tell which of it is naturally like that to you and which of it there was a situation where something happened and maybe
Spicy food you could develop a tolerance to right now.
Does everyone, because, okay, let's just go with India. India has curry.
Yes.
They add a lot of spices and stuff like that. Are we now saying that everyone that is born in India and is raised on that food enjoys spicy food?
Large percentage. You have to speak
wouldn't
in,
say
in
enjoy.
percentages.
Yeah.
That's why like the same thing with like the Hispanic culture. For I would say the large percentage of Hispanic people enjoy spicy food and have a higher spice tolerance than me. I know from friends that I've met, it's because their parents. It's because the like Hispanic culture, spice is a lot more prevalent in their food, and so they have a bigger
Tolerance
to it. Yeah. So, but
Yeah,
it's
but
not.
you could be
it's not
trained.
everyone. It's not everyone
No.
because there are other factors that come into it. Like
Okay.
some people's bodies are
But like
different.
if you right now in your current state started eating spicy food like every day, you could develop a tolerance to it.
You wouldn't enjoy it at first, probably.
No, you wouldn't enjoy the process, but you would eventually have a tolerance for it. Same thing with like when I first started drinking coffee, the hot liquid at all burned my tongue without fail. I couldn't drink hot liquid.
Well, caffeine is also like that's another drug that is also something where if you're like you drink coffee all the time or you drink a lot of sodas,
Yeah, you can develop
caffeine,
a tolerance.
yeah,
I was
caffeine-
just talking about the temperature.
Yeah.
Like it would burn my tongue, but then I started drinking coffee every day because I worked at a coffee shop. And then eventually I got to where I could hold the cup without it burning my hand and drank it at like basically boiling. But then like I'd hand it to Liz and she couldn't touch the cup. And if she took a sip, it burned her.
Or like right
I
now,
think that also matters about your nerves and your teeth, though.
right now, riding
But
my
it's
one
just
wheel,
tolerance.
riding my one wheel hurts my feet, and I always wonder how come after like 20 minutes of riding my one wheel, the arches of my feet feel like they're on fire. And then I looked it up, and it's because
Yeah, you're
wherever
used
you're
to it.
you're using different balancing muscles and stuff than you're used to.
It's
So
like cold
everybody,
weather.
Everybody on YouTube just says you just got to keep on riding, and eventually your muscles will build up. Like it will.
You know,
and it won't hurt as much.
You know, it's really painful.
What?
When I was a kid, was kneeboarding. For whatever reason, like again, obviously you do this more and more. It's not as painful, but there's a stretch that I have to do like 2 or 3 times a week, and it sucks. But it's like the flexion in my ankles this way is so bad.
Yeah.
And it hurt. It's so painful because when you're kneeboarding, that's like you basically tuck your feet underneath you, and then you basically are like sitting down on your ankles like that on your feet. So painful.
Yeah.
I think bodily stuff like that is a lot of genetics.
But then again, I think some of the tolerance stuff too, like some people are going to be genetically higher. Their tolerance level is going to be higher genetically just at a genetics thing versus others.
But I wonder if you could
Like taste buds.
Could you train yourself?
Not everyone has the same taste buds.
Could you train
So-
yourself in something and it passes down to your kid? Like if I'm born non-flexible, I become flexible by the time I die. My kid's born and is raised with me being flexible. Are they slightly more flexible to me so that
Like
five
osmosis?
Like 5
Does your
generations from
DNA
now,
change?
That's what I'm saying. Like 5 generations from now, would their kids be born more flexible than I was born?
Because
don't-
that's just evolution.
But that's what I'm saying though. Is like what can be passed down?
That is it.
Genetics.
Yeah, I don't
That's a
think
good
I don't
question.
think your DNA changes with flexibility.
But
But
that's
then
what I'm saying.
why
is
is it that there's still evolution that happens though?
That's what I'm saying. Is why
No, there's certain people. Are you?
Like as humans, our pinky toes are slowly moving further and further away from the rest of our toes.
because it has to develop with what's in. That's what I'm saying. Is like I think that.
And I don't know what my point is there. I just was bringing it up.
Well, I think it's a necessity thing because now we wear shoes,
Yeah.
which I think that actually it's shaped. If you look at a caveman's foot,
It's more spread out.
it was a lot bigger
It
and
looks
different.
like a shoe.
Yeah. Versus by the time we now have shoes, our feet and bone structure has changed.
We're training our feet to do something different.
But I'm wondering like how much of what we call
But
genetics
couldn't that
is
just because you're putting a kid's foot in a shoe at a young age?
That's probably yeah.
That's very
Like,
But
I-
I'm saying
like-
I'm just saying like how much of what we call genetics is actually genetics versus the household you're raised in, like the parent, like your parents
Yeah.
couldn't stretch, so so you never saw them. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or like because your parents, maybe like your dad was athletic and your mom wasn't, and so you're born. But then because of like your dad being athletic, they like teach you stuff about sports and do a lot more sports stuff. So you are athletic.
The line between nature
Like are
and
people
nurture
actually
is so fine.
I would say, are
Yeah.
people actually born athletic, or is it
Yes.
just their parents are athletic?
No.
I don't know.
There's a lot of people that are very athletic and their parents aren't athletic.
But is it like I guess what I mean more is like did the
that
parents
person
get them
wouldn't-
involved in
that-
sports at a really young age so that they became athletic?
No. Well,
I think that can happen. I
what
think
I'm
it
saying?
can happen both ways.
yeah, but there's a seal. There's a certain
There's
people
like a
have
fine line. Well,
the
yeah, a lot
that
of
are
people
just
have ceilings.
So it's like
Yeah,
that's where it's
100%.
like obviously you have two twins and both parents aren't athletic. You put one in sports at a young age. You don't put one in sports at a young age. Like they both have potential. Like this one is obviously gonna be more athletic at a certain age than this one, but you have a kid that both their parents are super athletic and they don't go into athletics at a young age. Like that person's probably gonna be more athletic than both these kids.
It's kind of,
Like
I mean, it's
just-
the same thing with any talent because it's the same thing with music. Like if I play the guitar, my kid is going to be better than me at the guitar by the time that he's 16 because I probably started teaching him guitar immediately. So like so it might look like he's naturally good at it, but really it's just because
That's what I'm saying. There's
But-
a fine
Taught him
line.
early
Like when
on.
you see someone
But-
at like 10 years old and you say like naturally gifted, it's a fine line of like what's naturally gifted and what's the decisions a parent made when they're really young.
But
Exactly, yeah.
music's a good one though because like music is not music is not a how fast you are, how tall you are, how long you can run. Music
Can be.
Music is a skill, so like you could theoretically have someone learn how to play the guitar really, really freaking good, right? But I would say there are some people that are gonna be more creative and they're gonna come up with stuff.
Yes.
Like you can teach, like you could theoretically teach someone, you could teach me right now, and I could become decently good at a guitar because it's just like, okay, hand-eye coordination, learn how to do this, blah, blah, I can play the song.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna be able to write a song myself though.
But yeah,
That's
you're
what I'm
right.
saying.
I see
Music
your
has
point. I do
music
see your
has like
point,
a
yeah.
brain creative stuff, and it's the same thing in athletics too. You look at some players in the NFL, and you're like, that person athletically is incredible, but because they are just so like X's and O's, and they only know like what they are told to do, basically. I think there's other
They can't
players
react to situations.
There's other players that step out the box and they're more creative in that way. And so I think the same thing a little bit in the athletics and the music, but more so in the music. Artists is another thing. Like I could go and learn how someone could literally say, do this with a stroke, do this, whatever. And over time, I could teach myself how to like make a good painting. But if you gave me a blank canvas and said, okay, create something, I think that is something where you can't teach that.
Yeah.
Like
See,
some people
I
just
just Googled
have, some people just have that, and some
it's
people
wrong.
don't.
So everyone's born with creativity, but it's more so the people who practice it throughout their
Yeah.
lives keep it, and the people who don't lose it. So it's a common human trait, not really a gift. it was a study by George Land found that children are born creative, but then lose their creativity as they transition through
For
life.
the same reason as to what does their parents do to
but
practice
there's still
creativity?
but there's still levels. Like this notion that every kid is born and they all have the same, like if you're making a Madden character and we're saying that every character is born and they all have the same attributes, that's insane.
I don't know if it's like the exact same, but
everyone has creativity. I'm not saying that, but
that's
there's
why
some people
kids'
that
imaginations are all wild.
But some people's creativity is down here, and some people's creativity is here when they're a kid.
Yeah, but if this person stayed doing creative stuff throughout life, and this person got into just sports and never did anything creative, that person would be more creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they both did the same thing,
sure, if they both did, it might be like
that's my
proportionally different. But as you got older, it's closer.
You can never really have a true control group with humans because they're all unique.
Yeah,
and all
it's wild.
different.
That's my point. Is like it's like
I was just wondering, like, how much do we attribute to being like you were born with that when it's really like the decisions that your parents or whoever.
Well, I think that's when you
really
look.
young.
I think that's when you look at like the outliers. When you look at the really good athletes. When you look at the really creative people like Ed Sheeran, like those type of people. Like those are people. Yeah, those are people that were born with already a high level of it, and then they were put into their lifestyle was basically also allowed that to continue to grow.
I have found here's something interesting, and I don't really know what point I'm making.
I have a
by saying
musician
this.
question to ask you after
Okay.
this.
I would say, and this is not in a bragging way at all, but I would say as a musician, I am better than the average person at picking out and finding and singing harmonies. Whenever I hear someone sing a melody, immediately the harmony, whether it's the tenor, alto, soprano, or the third, fifth, whatever, however you want to describe it, harmony just pops in my head. I can sing any of them. I'd never realized that growing up that I was particularly good at that. I just, now that I'm around more people who are not as good at it, I realize I'm just good at it. It's not a natural talent though, because the reason is because I remember being a kid growing up, 5 years old, my mom singing along to music in the car, and my mom had learned how to sing harmonies, I think from her great grandmother, and or her mom, and so whenever we were in the car, my mom would always choose to sing along to the songs by singing harmonies. So I just grew up hearing that. So it's not a natural skill that I have. It's just
that particularly
I was trained to do it. So that's where the line between nature and nurture is so fine.
Two questions. One, both my parents, my stepdad, my dad, my stepdad, and my mom, none of them are musically talented at all. My sister, though, when she really wanted like a keyboard, one of those Casios or whatever. Casio. I must have been like 6, so she was like 9 or something. We never went into musical classes. We were a very athletically driven family at like a young age kind of thing. She got it, and then she just busted it out and like just started actually like playing, and it sounded good. So like, yeah, she's like listened to music and stuff, but so did I listen. I listened to music too. And when I got on the Casio, I didn't know what the heck I was doing.
That I would say that could be a natural talent.
Like we were all
having a
like,
good ear for music.
She was just able to do it. So here's another question I have you. Has there been a musician? It could be either a musician or singer, whoever. Has there been someone that has been very successful, but has like their story was like, I wasn't in music at all.
Yeah. And
then like 20 years later, I just picked up a saxophone and now I'm really good, or I just started singing. Well, singing's different because
the artists you're going to see like that are your pop artists, where there's no, and take this with a grain of salt, technical talent, meaning that they can be creative and they can have a unique style, usually meaning poor form and technique, but you're not going to have a person that doesn't know anything about music one day pick up a saxophone and then the next week have a hit. Because something like a saxophone takes too much technique and too much
to learn.
I could walk up, anybody can walk up to a piano and this is not to go against anybody who is really good at the piano. Just to be clear, because I think the piano is one of those beautiful instruments. But I was similar way when I was a kid. I could just hear what notes sounded good
together.
But that's because there's like the note. All you have to do to make the note is to press it. Something like a saxophone, you've got to perch your lips the right way. There's some things that are so you'll see the people who pick it up later in life become really famous on something that's like a singer-songwriter role or a pop artist, because it's more about creating generic things that a lot of people can relate to as opposed to creating art.
I was actually when you brought up Ed Sheeran, it made me think of like I don't think Ed Sheeran has perfect pitch, but it made me think of like perfect pitch is a great example of
Yeah,
this.
true. That's a nature thing.
What is perfect
There's
pitch?
studies that like
You
as
can
an adult,
teach your kid to have perfect pitch.
What is that?
it's like
So
if you
whenever-
hear
pitch.
any noise, you can pick out what the note is.
If I were to go, you could be like, oh, it's an F sharp, or something like that.
Yeah, so apparently there was a bunch of studies
So you can
done.
hear, you know exactly what note every pitch
When
is.
you'd obviously have to know.
Very annoying.
You'd obviously have to know what.
I do not have
notes
perfect
are.
pitch, but it's very
Yeah.
annoying to be around people who do.
So apparently
Is that
there's-
same with instruments? Like if you string a guitar, you
if they
know
were
what
to,
the
yeah, they
pitch
could,
is?
they could
well,
hear
if
it,
they
yeah.
hear a noise, like
That's what I'm
Charlie
saying, like-
Puth is on TikTok.
It's not just
freaking
singing. That's what I'm saying.
hearing-
It's not just singing.
No,
Yeah.
he can hear like someone drop a glass and he'll be like, oh, it's a C sharp. I don't know if that's right, but you know what I'm saying. Like he can hear whatever noise.
Yep.
So, but apparently there's a bunch of studies, and the findings suggest that adults can acquire absolute pitch, also known as
Yes.
perfect pitch, even without early exposure to pitches and music labels. However, the current set of studies can't directly address whether this adult acquired absolute pitch is comparable to the performance of true perfect pitch.
It won't be, but it's the same. You can train there's like apps where every morning, instead of spelling a word or doing math, you train yourself with hearing notes.
Yeah.
So a lot of my friends try to train themselves to have relative pitch, which is almost perfect pitch, basically. Like you can kind of get it right, you can get around it. I am very far from it. Literally the other day, me and Hunter were in the office, and what happened?
You
You said something about B flat, and I was like, I think this is a B flat, because what I was thinking was a song in my head that's in B flat, and I was trying to sing it, and I pulled out the keyboard on my phone, and I was like, and then I was like, all right, here's a B flat, and it was like, nah.
It's very funny moment.
swing and a miss.
Yeah. I definitely do not have perfect pitch.
I think too, the other thing I would say is in athletics, you see this all the time of where like obviously golf, you've seen it firsthand in golf of where there are some people where you can tell them something where, if you've ever coached anyone in sports, there are some kids that you can tell them something and they're able to immediately change their body and do the thing that you're asking them to do. Mm-hmm. And then there's other kids that it just takes them so much longer.
Yeah.
That's something where it's like you can't really teach that. There are just some people that are naturally, they know, dancers are a really good example of this, like really good dancers. They're able to, at a young age, be able to see something and be able to mimic it versus others, like, they can't do it. Mm-hmm. So I think like
because I think
you can train everyone to get better at something,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of natural
there's
talent.
some people
I
that
was
can
very
just look at
coachable
something.
in basketball, of like if you told me whatever, something about a move or something like that, it would take me like 1 or 2 tries and I'd be able to do it. But then in soccer, I might as well have been worthless. I had 2 left feet. You could try. I wanted to be coachable when I played soccer.
Well, I
but
think
like,
it's a different skill set.
but that's what I'm saying is like coachability, I think, is also
that's just a
sport
different-
specific. Because like if you told me something in golf, I don't know that I could just immediately replicate
But
it.
see, that's more similar to basketball.
Golf?
Because golf is
Somewhat.
not foot hand. Soccer is foot eye coordination, which I don't actually have that great foot eye coordination. I have great hand eye coordination. So any hand eye coordinated sports, tennis, basketball, golf, darts, whatever, I'm able to quickly, like ping pong, I'm able to quickly see someone do something and then be able to mimic it, or have someone teach me something and be able to mimic it, versus soccer. I'm trying to think of where are some other foot sport? Is that the only one?
Foot golf.
Hockey? No, hockey would be a good one.
Yeah.
Because hockey, like you actually are now like
Running.
the movement.
Trying to like mimic running form.
Running, not so much though.
I don't know. I struggled with I like watched the running form. I was like, I don't think I could do that. I will say though, in golf, now that you say it, I did screw myself a little bit by messing up my entire swing, and it was all because I watched Trevor swing back or whatever it's called, backswing. Disc golf really messes with my lingo. I watched Trevor's backswing, and I just saw where his back arm was, and then I couldn't, when I went out to the golf course, I couldn't not get my back arm there.
So that's one thing that is interesting, of where in golf I could probably swing 10 different ways.
Yeah, like if I
Be
tried
able to
going
mimic other golf swing, like golf swings.
I think if I like played enough golf where I was comfortable with one swing, I might be able to.
Yeah.
But like when I was trying, like I tried getting back to my old swing that felt, but then it just, I
couldn't get
knew it
back
was,
to it?
well, I just knew it was wrong. So it just felt, every time I did it, it felt wrong. And so then my body, like as soon as I'd get up and my arm was off, my body would bring my arm in, and then my swing was just terrible. So like the only way I could do it was to keep my arm next to me and have my swing back be different. And it was just because I watched Trevor once do it, and I was like, I know I don't do that.
That's like before I knew Brodie, like before I'd ever been around you, or before I was even a part of Foundation. I just watched one of Brodie's videos and saw him throw a zone forehand. And I was like, oh my gosh. And the next time I played, I literally just thought about what you looked like whenever you threw it, and then I did it, and I was like, that's the best forehand approach
I think
I've
a
ever
lot
done
of
in
it
my
is
life.
how comfortable you are with the sport already.
True.
Because I feel like I could do that. I feel like in disc golf, I could do it super easily. Like if you showed me something, I think I could make my body throw however I want.
That's not the point I'm
comfortable.
saying. I'm saying my point is.
But I think that's why with me with basketball too.
Because you're comfortable with it.
I was comfortable with it. So I could easily shift to be like whatever. But basketball was a little more natural because I could do it when I was like 5.
That's because
but soccer, I was also 5. And
there's
I
a lot.
it.
We've been talking about nature or nurture, but there's also a huge part of it that's like, without getting too far into this, you were created to be uniquely you. Which
I wasn't created to be a basketball player. If that's where we're going.
No, I'm not. I'm saying each one of us, everybody in the world, was created to be uniquely you, meaning that there are going to be natural talents that you were given. There's also going to be natural passions that you were given.
Yep.
And there's also going to be, because it's part of a plan, things in your life that lead you down a certain road for those things. So I think that I think tracing it down is just almost
impossible. It's like impossible because it's a mixture of everything.
But
so we're all right.
Just whatever you found, just run with it.
So we're all right. So a kid can desire a carrot.
Some can. I'm sure there are some kids out there.
There is somebody out there whose unique ability,
their passion is
carrots.
And it's me. It's my kid.
They probably have really good.
It's gonna be Connor Thomas.
They probably have really good eyesight.
Because I'm making a joke.
That's funny. Nah, Trevor would never eat carrots.
Can I leave?
Trevor Jr. would never eat carrots.
Can I leave? Can I leave you all with a joke?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'd prefer it.
What is warm and
Pee.
smells like carrots?
Pee.
I guess urine. I don't know.
Urine after you eat carrots.
A bunny's fart.
It's like kind of a joke.
All right.
All right. I'll see you later, Hunter.
Yeah, see you, dude. Have a good one, man.